This is Charles Cummings, editor of American Civil War Today. Today is August 30th, 2012. The text version of this podcast can be found at www.americancivilwartoday.com. A reenactment of the Second Battle of Manassas in the Shenandoah Valley. Today is the final day of the 150th anniversary of the Second Battle of Manassas, also known as Bull Run. 150 years ago, nearly to the minute, 25,000 Confederate soldiers led by Major General Longstreet smashed into the Union left flank. Before darkness fell, the Union Army led by Major General Pope would be in full retreat. The total casualties of both sides would come to about 17,000 for the three-day battle. This Confederate victory would lead Abraham Lincoln to assign Major General Pope to Minnesota, and the door was open for General Lee's first incursion into Maryland, culminating in the Battle of Antietam. During the early days of August 2012, the Second Battle of Manassas was reenacted by thousands of reenactors. The reenactment actually took place at the Cedar Creek battlefield just south of Winchester in the Shenandoah Valley. Normally, federal and state-owned battlefields don't allow firearms to be fired. However, the Cedar Creek battlefield is run by a foundation while still associated with the National Park Service. This distinction allows reenactments to take place on the battlefield with the use of actual weapons, minus the projectiles, of course. If you've never been to an American Civil War reenactment, it is truly an interesting and educational experience. The reenactment took place over 3 days, the same as the actual battle. Spectators had the opportunity to watch the reenactment of the battle in a consolidated form. Essentially, a day's battle would be consolidated to movement and firing over about an hour. The number of reenactors looked to be about 4,000, while the actual number of soldiers in the battle was more than 100,000. As the battle was taking place, commentary was provided by an announcer explaining the movement of the reenactors in relation to the historical movements of the battle. The sound of a volley or the boom of a cannon could be heard throughout the area. I was really surprised how loud the battle was. In fact, I was told that during the American Civil War, about twice the amount of powder was used, and considering that there were 25 times more soldiers there, one can only imagine how loud the battle was. In many ways, the reenactment of the battle was the headline of the weekend. However, a tent symposium turned each day into a full day of activities. At the symposium, I heard a presentation by the local historical society, a presentation on a new American Civil War book, and some brilliant living historians acting as General Longstreet and General Stuart. The living historians portrayed General Longstreet and Stuart as they were during August 1862. Both did a brilliant job in acting and playing the role and knew incredibly intricate details of the generals' lives. The reenactors stayed in American Civil War type tents at the battlefield, creating a camp. A really interesting part of the camp was the shops owned by sutlers. Historically, sutlers were civilian merchants that sold wares to the soldiers in the army. Today, sutlers sell reenactors muskets, uniforms, and other items needed to be authentic. I was very impressed with the quality of the reenactment and the presentations given at the symposium. If you haven't been to an American Civil War reenactment, I would highly recommend going to a reenactment, big or small. If you're in the Shenandoah area, the Cedar Creek battlefield will host the reenactment of the Battle of Cedar Creek, October 20th and 21st, 2012. Cost was $32 for a 3-day pass. This was for the Second Battle of Manassas reenactment. This has been another edition of American Civil War Today.